Final hour OverDrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Bryan Hayes, Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Frankie Corrado. Got Jack Armstrong later in the hour. Get his take on Raptors Pelicans tonight. I guess Darko's speaking to the media right now. He's not ruling out a potential return for Scottie Barnes this year, but seems very unlikely after surgery. And if the season's over, if they're mathematically eliminated, why would you even force him back? You know, that's...
Why rush him? He's young. He's talented.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere this year.
Exactly. I would say my Jerry's on him returning.
15.
Yeah. I was going to go lower than that, like 5%. 5%.
Not worth it.
If you're even anywhere under 50, there's just no sense this year. Like,
yeah,
why?
unless there's some miracle that they're about to go on and you know, with a week left, they're within a game of making the play-in and Scottie Barnes. Like, that's probably what they want to portray, is that they're not mailing in the season. And if the timeline adds up that possibly he could return, then why announce him? It doesn't matter what you announce today. But the reality is they're in a bind. They're really going to miss him. And chances are they're going to miss the plan by at least a few games, and if that ends up being the case, then he's not coming back.
Does he give some of your bench guys or young guys an opportunity to see what they have? Maybe
I think so too. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you know who Scottie is.
Yeah.
Like, he had a great year. He was an all-star this year.
I don't know. Maybe someone gets a chance to play, and next year you look at it, you're like, that guy gave us something. Like, maybe we have something there, and we wouldn't have seen it otherwise.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what Jack has to say about that. We got Owen Power coming up here, the Buffalo Sabres. I've seen the results coming in on that star-studded, Seminole Pro member Monday tournament down in Florida. You guys see our boy Brad Faxon was saying that Tiger Woods reportedly looked unbelievable. Unbelievable. Fax was telling stories about how this guy, he almost had an albatross down there. He hit a 5-wood, like 250 to like an inch tap-in eagle. Was walking the course.
Those guys all look unbelievable in a member. That's quite a member, or pro member, whatever the hell it's called. I used to belong in Florida to a place called Bear Lakes, and that pro member, it was like PGA Tour star or players would just show up and play in this, and it was outrageous. It's like, I don't know if they get a kick out of just the juice of the cash or why they show up to these things, but that's a pretty prestigious course. But to say that he was dialed in at that, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that... It doesn't mean anything. It means absolutely nothing. But there was some speculation, like, is he sick, or did he hit that shank on 18 and his game's falling off? Is his back spasming? It's always the same thing with Tiger Woods. And, they're at Bay Hill this week, which he's not playing. And I don't know why he wouldn't play Bay Hill. Like,
I thought he would be automatic for Bay Hill.
Exactly. Like, if you can play the member pro or whatever it's called, you can do that and walk. Why aren't you playing at Bay Hill? You love Bay Hill. You've won there more than anywhere, I believe, on tour, either that or Torrey Pines. Why aren't you playing? Like, it's an invitational. He would have been granted it. Clearly, they would have loved to have seen him play. And the Players is next week. We believe he'll be at the Players. If he's not, that's a red flag.
He came out with the theory of, I'm playing once a month this season.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like he can't play back-to-back weeks, just health-wise. He can't walk around a golf course back-to-back weeks. That seems like an impossibility. But in saying that, hasn't played a competitive round since Riv, and then he's going to walk on that golf course in Sawgrass, and, like, what's his game going to be like there?
I know.
There's just such a laundry list of things that could ail him at any given time, right? Like, and with the walking, the back, the knee, you name it, game's not good. We just don't know what you're going to get from him on any given week. So it feels like even if he does show up or you see nice videos of him on the range, you're just expecting something to flare up.
And he's still Tiger Woods.
He is, but what kind of warm-up is that for Augusta National? It's like, I'm going to play at the Players, and then, 3 weeks later, the Masters? It's like, that's your tune-up? It's like...
That's it.
And we talked about it when he was at Riv. It's like, you can't show up on Monday, say you can win, and then miss the cut and say, well, I don't play, so what did you expect?
No, I know.
It's got to be somewhere in between.
Yeah, it definitely does. And he's so talented that he can step on a range or a golf course anywhere, and he's going to hit stingers.
Dude, he's going to bomb the ball.
Yeah, I mean...
I bet you know who has a long drive? I'll guarantee you Owen Power bombs the ball.
You think so?
100%.
Are we presuming he plays golf? I don't know.
We're just presuming he plays golf, And he's got a massive tee shot.
Yeah. Okay. You're on the record saying Owen Power can absolutely mash off the tee.
Just demolish his golf balls.
I'm going to say sneaky good short game.
Okay.
Was it Cat Williams that said my short game is impeccable? I'm going to say that Owen Power's got, if he plays golf, here he is.
I'll say single-digit handicap.
All right.
Okay.
All right. We're watch him say, I hate golf.
Yeah,
I've never played. It's a stupid game. Here he is from the Buffalo Sabres. He'll be up here tomorrow night. Leafs Sabres down at Scotiabank. Here's Owen Power. Go ahead, Owen. Do you play golf? Hey. What's the story here, man?
Yeah, I do. I mean, definitely don't have the bomb or the drive, but sneaky short game, I think, sums up a little better.
Oh, man, your short game is impeccable. I love it. I love it. Are you single digit? Like, what kind of strokes are we giving you, or are you giving us if we were to play?
I don't have an actual handicap, which is horrible by me, but I would say I'm right around a 10. So
all right, I like that. It's a sandbag number, right at 10. That's a sandbag.
Hayes will take you out to Coppenwood, but he's going to want you on his team so you guys get all the shots.
The sneaky 10. I love that. That's a guy who's actually going to shoot like 75.
You can't trust a guy who says he's a 10, but then he says he's got sneaky mitts around the green. Right. I don't trust that guy to be a 10.
I hear you. Yeah. I hear you.
Hey, once I get my drive straightened out, then I'll be a little lower, but that's the issue right now.
Well, you get 20 years in the National Hockey League to basically concentrate on, I'm sure, until you actually get to the courses and really work on that short game. But it's great to have you on. We saw you at the Canadian Open, actually. We were up, I guess that was at Oakdale, I think we saw you. And, it's great to have you. And obviously you guys, you've been kind of rolling lately, and you guys have had the Leafs number in the past. Like, you're a local guy. What's it like whenever you get a chance to play the Leafs?
Yeah, no, it's always a lot of fun. I mean, whether it's in Buffalo or here, it's always a good crowd and good competitive game. So we're excited for it, and I think it's just going to be a lot of fun.
Owen, you're getting a feel for the league now. You've obviously come a long way since you first entered the league. Has there been a player or a couple players that you can talk about and you can say, man, that guy's better than I thought? Like, I wasn't expecting that guy to be that good. Is there anyone that sticks out for you as you kind of keep learning the league here?
Yeah, there's definitely been some guys. I mean, you got two guys on the Leafs. I think with Matthews, obviously you know how good he is, but when you actually play against him, you realize all the other things he does. Other than score. So, and I think also Marner is very similar, where you kind of watch on TV or at a game watching, you don't pick up on a lot of the little details and smart little plays that he makes. So I mean, those two guys probably two of the biggest ones, but there's definitely been a ton of guys where you kind of don't realize how good they are and until you play against them.
Owen, what's the experience like for you coming back to play in Toronto? Is it head to the folks' house, or is it dinner downtown, or meet up with buddies? How many ticket requests? Like, just the whole experience, what's it like?
Yeah, I mean, it's not too bad. I mean, Buffalo's so close, so there's a lot of people that come down to Buffalo too. So I mean, I see my family a lot. Normally I'll go and have dinner at home, but tonight I'm probably just going to stay in, I think, and just hang out. So pretty tired, get some rest.
Okay, all right. That's a sneaky plan. I like that plan. And again, Sabres in town tomorrow night. Owen Power joining us here, the Buffalo Sabres, and we were talking, off the air actually prior to having you on. Like, everyone's mocking up their Team Canada lineup for next year, for 2026, for 2030. And you're still a young guy, and you're still kind of finding your way into the NHL. But you're a first overall pick, an immense talent. And I'm curious if you've put your mind to that at all, moving past the daily grind of the National Hockey League. Do you ever consider yourself like in the running? Do you see yourself moving in that direction where in 2026, when the NHL returns to the Olympics, the name Owen Power is a name that we should be considering when we're talking about this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's something that as a kid I watched the NHLers playing it. It's kind of been a dream. So it's definitely something that I hope to do one day. But obviously right now it's not kind of the most important thing on my table. But definitely as it comes closer, it's going to be something that's I hope to be on, and definitely something that would be a dream come true.
Oh, and there's a few teams that are kind of in the same category right now, like young teams that are really trying to turn the corner. And, you see some of the results that those teams have had, and it just seems like winning in the NHL is very hard. Is that something that you guys as a group constantly talk about and are trying to hammer home, like just how hard it is to consistently win against very good teams in the NHL on a night-to-night basis?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that's something with myself I've kind of noticed since I've played in the NHL. Really, it's like you said, tough league to win in, and obviously every night you're not going to have your best, so you got to kind of find ways to kind of pull out wins when the team's not feeling it. So it's definitely something that I think as a young team you kind of got to learn to do, and I think a lot of the older, more experienced teams kind of know how to do that. So no, for sure, it's definitely tough, and but like I said, we just trying to figure out how to win when we maybe don't have our best stuff all the time.
Leafs Sabres tomorrow night. It's always a fun one when these two teams play. I'm sure you're looking forward to it back in your hometown. Good luck tomorrow night the rest of the way, and we'll do it again down the road. Thank you for this, Owen.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
There's Owen Power, the Buffalo Sabres. Leafs Sabres tomorrow night, then Leafs in Boston Thursday, Leafs in Montreal on Saturday.
You always have these big plans when you're coming back to your hometown. Every time I was like, probably going to go for dinner with my buddies, maybe have like a bit of a night out, but not a late one, and just get a vibe. And then you're just like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to bed. Mm-hmm. And it's just like a total downer of what you had envisioned. It's just the games pile up and you're tired, and it's like, it's either room service or just like walk across the street and grab something to eat.
Yeah.
Right.
All the big dreams you have are kind of shattered pretty quickly.
I would go, like, I think I played in Toronto, or I came to Toronto twice as a visitor, and I always went home for dinner that night. But like coming to Toronto, the other guys would love it. It's like, oh, we're going to Jacobs or Harbor 60. Like, it was one of those ones where guys are making really cool dinner plans, but I don't know. I just felt like it's such a long season. Like,
yeah,
I can get home in half an hour.
Yeah, exactly. Like why not pop in to see your parents or whatever, family, friends? And I'm sure it's a two-way street where you guys have plans and other people are like, hey, I got stuff going on. I can't meet you down for dinner tonight. Yeah. Like, I worked a 9 to 5. I'm exhausted. I'm not coming down.
The best was like when fringe guy, like you'd have some fringe guy that would text you and be like, hey, man, like, got any extra tickets for the game? Like, first of all, I don't have any tickets for the game because you got to buy them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you would be 800th on the list of people that I'm getting tickets for.
Fringe guy. But you got to appreciate the boldness of that guy. He's like, I'm going to shoot my shot.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to slide into the DMs or send a text and be like, you got a free ticket for me? Nah, all right, didn't think so.
Yeah, some guy, like, you watched a UFC fight together in a group like 3 years prior, and he's like, he got your number. He's like, I'm going to fire this guy up for some tickets.
I'll give him a shot. Hey, GSP, what a fight that was. By the way, any tickets for tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Darren Dreger reporting the Vegas Golden Knights have acquired Anthony Mantha from the Washington Capitals. Mantha's a good player. Like, he's obviously very tough. He can score goals. It's not cap manipulation, but this is Vegas, and I don't think he's got a big ticket down in Washington. But Vegas is going to be active. They're always active, and I don't know if this is going to be the equivalent of a Barbashev deal last year. But I'm sure that's what they're hoping for. Is here's a guy that'll sneak in, bottom six, add some bite, some size, some toughness, can score.
I wonder if that takes them out of Gensel. He's got a pretty big cap hit.
Does he?
Yeah.
Where's he at?
5.7.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that big. I wonder if Washington's eating any money.
Well, and I believe he's a UFA. Yeah, he's a UFA. So there you go.
He's
There's
a guy
your
that's
rental.
looking to find, like, he's one of those players. He came out of junior as this, like, super scorer, and then it's like you get to Detroit. I think he had one season in Detroit where he did get 30, maybe even more. Mm-hmm. But then it's like they made that swap for Barana and him, and then it's like he just you watch him sometimes, you can tell there's a skill set there, but
yeah.
But there's a player maybe going to the environment out in Vegas where it's like play for keeps and just kind of do your thing and contribute.
Just be a guy. Don't be the guy, right? You don't have to be the main ticket event on a team like Vegas. You just need to slide in and do your job, and everything else kind of works pretty well.
Well, he grabbed Nick Cousins a week ago and beat the hell out of him, and that would have got him a lot of
Anthony
love.
Mantha did?
Mantha grabbed him last week. Wasn't it a week ago? I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
I would almost bet money that it wouldn't have been Anthony Mantha.
No?
I don't know.
Maybe I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was Mantha that grabbed Cousins.
If he did, good on him. I just find it what I've watched.
Mantha's tough, man. He's sneaky tough. I hear you, but look that up, Doogie. There's Doogie back on the case.
He's on it.
I'm positive. I watched the fight, and I remember it on SportsCenter being like, I know it was Cousins. Someone grabbed I'm fairly certain it was Mantha. I mean, now you guys are throwing me off because you're making
I got it. I got Anthony Mantha is a very popular man after beating up Nick Cousins.
He beat him up last week.
Good for him. I got to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I saw that, but I didn't know it was him, and that might be his first fight in the National Hockey League.
Dude, he's tough, man. Remember a couple years ago, he went after that Buchnevich. I think it was Buchnevich that was high-sticking guys. And Mantha just snapped and was like, I'm going to lay a beating on you.
Well, he's big.
He's
Mantha's
tough,
a big guy.
He is tough.
Yeah.
He can fight. He is tough. He can fight.
My scouting report was way off on Anthony Mantha.
Yeah.
But you said that, and I'm like, I don't think you're talking about the same guy.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's great now? Every time a trade is made, the guy with the bar graph has to tweet it out. So now,
bar graph guy's really
you know what I mean?
online.
As soon as someone gets traded, it's like, boom, here's the bar graph, and we all just come to a massive conclusion as to what the player is.
I don't even know what a bar graph is.
It's it's a little card with the player's picture, and it's like all these things like, oh, he's expected this and expected that, and it's all these different.
It's an analytic
statistical
chart,
and we base our assumptions on the player off of that, even though no one's watched a Capitals regional game this year that would know.
Right.
You know?
Exactly. And the fight of Cousins is an example of that, where that wouldn't show up. No. But there's a guy
that Dom from The Athletic that does that?
I don't know, man.
There's a lot of
I think those are valuable, but
they're
not for me when I look at that.
You gotta marry the visual of watching the player and what the analytics tell you, or else it's useless. Both you need to have both.
Right. And different. When you're going to a different team, you're talking about a different line mates. You're talking about a different role, possibly different minutes,
everything, man.
different everything. And exactly. I mean, that's why scouting is about the data and the information, but also about going to watch them. You know that Kelly McCrimmon sat there and was watching Mantha. What is he? What's he going to bring?
Well, then why do they have pro scouts? Why are pro scouts going to all the different games?
Right. You should just be following guys on Twitter. Be like, this guy, I like that. Hey, that's an interesting card.
They just watch OverDrive, and they know that Hazy knows that he fought Nick Cousins.
I did know. You guys threw me off. I'm like, am I wrong in this?
No,
dude, I was like, I don't know what I almost texted you and said, I think you're talking about the wrong player.
No. Meanwhile, I was watching it again on SportsCenter multiple times. They're like, Mantha's going to get a lot of love league-wide because that Nick Cousins, man, is hated around the league. He dives.
And he deserves it.
He deserves it,
He buries guys in the numbers, and different than the Pospisil stuff from last night. I think the Cousins stuff is guys that are legitimately unsuspecting, and it's dirtier.
Mm-hmm.
The Pospisil stuff, I think that's a guy just trying to play with some energy and kind of compete for a job.
Yeah. Cousins will pick his spots. He dives. There's a lot of phony stuff. I'll take it.
As much as a pain in the ass and he is, as much as everyone hates him, I'll take him over a guy that carries a bushel of eggs in the back of his pants and it don't break at the end of a game. I'll take it every time.
Well, and here's another thing that we were talking about with the Panthers. You know who loves Nick Cousins? Is the Florida Panthers love him. They will jump in for him. They will back him up. They'll fight for him. Because who was it earlier in the year that snapped on him in Columbus?
Goodbranson.
Was it Goodbranson?
Yes.
Exactly. And then the Panthers were like, you got to pay for that because that's not cool with us. And it's like, Goodbranson probably deserved to smack him around a little bit and snap because he got hit from behind. He didn't like it. Goodbranson then challenged him. He didn't take the challenge. But the Panthers were like, we don't care if you don't like him. We do. He's our guy.
Exactly. You want to mess with our guy, you got to mess with us. Are you guys are you surprised or are you tired of hearing that everyone's saying the prices are really high around the league right now? We've talked
about it before, Frankie, where it's like, if you want a guy, what do you talk? The price is just like a house. The price is what someone's going to give you for it, and that's
no kidding.
Well, I haven't seen the price yet on this Mantha deal, but
Does he have term left?
No, he's a UFA at the end of the year. Like,
but
maybe they ate some money, and then Vegas had to pay a little bit more for that.
That's the thing. Like, we talk about the trade bait board, and we're like, I don't know, it's not the most flattering board. It's it's a lot of patchwork or guys with larger cap hits that you can't even bring into your team. And then GMs, like, I just saw Barry Trotz, like, prices are really high. How high could the prices be on all these guys? It's not like you're bringing in game-changing guys. You're just bringing in guys. Like they're replacement level guys. A lot of these players.
That's what's so frustrating about this is Gensel, Hannafin, and Markstrom are impact players. Like those are players where the price should be high, will be high.
You got to pony up to get those.
You got to pony up if you want to get like a true number one goalie, a true top four defenseman, a true top six winger who's an impact guy. Like those guys, that's always been the case. You've always had to pay for them. But like Matt Dumba is a great example. You could have had Matt Dumba on a 1-year deal for $4 million in July, and now you're going to pay a first to get. How does that make any logical sense?
No.
But that's what I'm saying. But his name's out there. It's like, well, what about? Dumba, do you pay that to get him? It's like,
no, you just tell the guy to go eat his hat. It's like, I'm not paying that, man.
But I don't think anybody is, or else he would have been dealt by now. Like, Arizona's happy to move on guys. And I think the prices are high, but I think there's a game of chicken right now, but that by Friday, the prices are going to go down on a number of these players because there's going to be an understanding that no one's paying that for a guy who's a replacement level player.
No kidding. And who makes $5 million. Like if a guy's got 25 points this year and he makes $5 million, how can you possibly expect teams to give up a first round pick for that?
Right.
Like you're not being realistic.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of what we're dealing with here. But at this point, if you're holding on to those players, there's nothing wrong with asking for the world, but you have to determine when you're not going to get it and when you are willing to pivot. And then you basically have to trigger a whole different negotiation based on a realistic price. And that's where I'm sure a number of teams will come back into the fold. But there's going to be a lot of activity between now and Friday, and there's one of them. Anthony Mantha is on his way from Washington to Vegas. All right, the Raptors are in action tonight, and New Orleans is in town. Zion Williamson, as we know. Zion, I'm pretty sure he's playing. I'm pretty sure he's playing. Him and R.J. Barrett are connecting again, right? They were Duke guys, and Zion he's still trying to find his way. He's trying to find his way.
Those two had some hype at Duke, didn't they? Holy crap!
Yeah, I mean more than any other duo I can think of in a long, long time.
Like that incident where he blew his shoe apart.
That was crazy.
That was the craziest shoe blowing apart episode that got blown up into the Nike shoes are crap. He's too strong for shoes. It was just like one of those things. He was so popular that it blew up into a massive story.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It was a Nike shoe. Remember that?
Yeah.
And it was Nike's stock is going to take a hit because Zion Williamson's shoe blew up.
Insane, man.
Yeah. It was crazy. So anyway, he's going tonight. First time playing in Toronto. Remember, he was supposed to start his career up here. After the Raptors won their championship, I'm pretty sure in 2020, Zion was coming into the league as a rookie, and they were playing the Pelicans.
First game.
That's when the rings were being handed out. I was there. I was in the building, and Zion, he was hurt. He didn't play. He didn't start his career. Remember, he had an injury. He was out for like the first couple months of his career.
Oh, chances
and that guy
are
has shoved a lot of cake in his shorts.
He's made so much money, and he's barely played.
Over the years, chances are, if you had a ticket to watch the Pelicans play, he probably wasn't playing.
Playing.
Go around the tour of the NBA. There's a lot of people that missed watching that guy.
Yeah.
He was doing some funny stuff away from the court as well.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's had his hand in a couple of different cookie jars, literally and figuratively. And it's cost him a scene online. All right, Zion playing tonight. Jack Armstrong will join us. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, Raptors Pelicans tonight. Zion Williamson in town and playing this evening. We had Owen Power on earlier this hour. Asked him what's he up to in Toronto. I wonder what Zion got up to last night. I have a few guesses what he might have gotten up to, but
a couple establishments.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Pelicans Raps tonight. Jack Armstrong coming up in a moment, and Scottie Barnes ended up going the route of surgery, which you guys have been down this road before. Like, would be player driven, but also team driven, doctor driven. Like, it's kind of a three-headed monster, right? When you're making a decision like that.
All kinds of factors, Hazy. Like, I was supposed to get traded in Carolina one of my last years there. And I think it was 2 weeks before the deadline, I blew my shoulder out. And it's like, that's when Lavi was asking me, when am I coming back? And I'm like, Lavi, I have a torn labrum. And when that happens, it's like you can't get traded because you go to the new team, you can't pass a physical.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, surgery, I'm done. Because I'm not. No, it's just like, what are you going to do? What am I going to stick around? You're going to trade me? I'm going to go to the other team and not pass a physical? I'm done.
Yeah.
Man, what I would do to go
I
back
took heat, though. I was on the golf course.
When you said that, the first thing I thought of is how quickly did you put a peg in the ground and tee up?
Dude, how much would
you pay? The next morning, guys were at practice, and I was at Raleigh Country Club for 3 days straight before my surgery, and I think it caused a bit of a stir.
Oh,
but I'm done for the year. My surgery's not till Friday. It was a Tuesday. I'm teeing it until my surgery.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Oh, man.
I like that.
I would love to see in the dressing room back in those days, what kind of stuff you were saying to guys after a bad game or something.
Oh, yeah.
Just like
golf shoes in the room. Golf shoes in the room.
Shirt tucked going to practice, completely going to tee it right after.
I love that.
Not even hiding.
I was taking swings again in the front yard today, man. I was doing it again today, and I actually was working in new shoes. I got these new G4 shoes. I'm working them in, trying to get ready for the season, which I'm trying my best, man. I want to be ready to rock.
I bet you Jack's playing down in Buff.
I'll bet you he is. Buffalo's, it's beautiful right now. Here's our main man, Jack Armstrong, our Raptors analyst. How we doing, Jack?
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Doing very well. Very, very well. We're excited. Zion Williamson finally playing in Toronto. First time we're ever going to see him play up here. And, before we get to the Raptors and the Scottie Barnes stuff, we'll ask you about that. Like Zion, you're so familiar with him coming up and what he did at Duke and first overall. And, I mean, how would you describe, who he is, his legacy up to this point, and what Zion Williamson represents in the NBA?
Well, legacy's hard because I don't think he has been as dedicated in terms of the fitness element as you need to be. I do think this year, though, he has made strides, and I watch him this year. He has done a fabulous job as a playmaker. He is in better shape. And they have a fun team. I really like their team. They're deep. There's a lot of talent there. And I think he's really grown as a pro. Now, will he take that next step and truly 100% all in commit to what he has to do in terms of physically to be the elite player that he can be? Only time will tell. But I tell you what, I did a game it was November, I think it was, in New Orleans, and the Raptors played there. And Zion Williamson at that time was healthy. And, oh, my goodness, he put on an incredible show. And the Raptors got blown out that night. And I kept punching Matt Devlin in the arm. And, you're pressing the cough button, and then we're in commercial break. I'm like, did you blank and see that? Can you blank and believe this? This guy is blank and unbelievable. So to see him up close and personal and to watch him that night, he blew me away in just terms of the explosiveness, the athleticism, the burst, the ability, the skill. And I had the opportunity to watch him practice in person when Duke was here playing in Toronto. And I sat and watched practice for a few hours. And then at the end of practice, he did this incredible little dunk contest for fun at the end of practice. And I was just blown away by the sheer force. And, the guy that keeps jumping out at me every time I watch him is, was a Charles Barkley as a young player. I mean, kind of similar build and just absolutely off the charts athleticism and explosiveness. And we'll see if he figures it all out. But I tell you what, I'm watching him play this year. I'm seeing him see the whole court a lot more. His basketball feel and understanding of what the game's all about has gotten a lot better. So kudos to him.
Jack, Scottie goes down, has surgery. What's most important if you were coaching the team with the medical staff to obviously get him healthier, but just his presence around the locker room, if they are going to build around this guy? I don't think the idea of, okay, have surgery, head back home, and we'll see you next year. What's the best way to handle this for kind of him still being a presence around the locker room, getting his work in, and still trying to get something out of this?
Well, as you know, we live in the days of there's so many different parties that are involved in that discussion. It's not just the coach. It's not just the medical staff. It's your front office. It's his quote-unquote team. And, trying to collaborate and make sure everybody's on the same page. So that's the world of professional sports, not just in our league, but all four sports in 2024. So I think, obviously, he's had surgery, so all depends on when he's able to reconnect with the team and come back. Obviously, you want him around every day and to be around the team and, doing his rehab. And just being with his teammates all the time because he's a significant figure in the grand scheme of things. So, obviously, to your point, that's going to be a big, big thing, and that would definitely be a major point of emphasis. And, look, he's a terrific young man. He's a team-first guy. You can see it in how he plays. He's a very selfless player. I would never describe him as a guy that goes into games trying to get his from a scoring perspective. I think he goes into games trying to do everything. And, as you can see, he can impact the game scoring, rebounding, passing, deflections, steals, blocks. I think he just does whatever is needed of him that night to help his team win. And I think his teammates really like him. So I think from a mission statement and action speaking louder than words, his actions speak every night. If you play with him or you coach him, that he's in the right place in terms of what he's trying to accomplish.
Jack, obviously you never want to see a player get hurt, especially a player like Scottie Barnes, but chances are with this happening, someone's going to get more of a look than they would have got with Scottie playing. Like, who is that player for the Raptors? Who has the most to gain here as far as more playing time with Scottie out?
Well, you look at, obviously, Pirtle's out tonight, Brown's out tonight, and, you look at the whole picture. I would say Wara, Ochai, and, those would be a few guys that you would look at. I think the other guy, they got to make some, even though it's a different position, a little bigger piece of the puzzle. Gary Trent Jr. is a free agent in the offseason. They really got to legitimately, as you know, I mean, it's pretty obvious they have to make a decision on him. But I'm sure he's going to have a little bigger piece of the puzzle in terms of what they're trying to do here, particularly with three of their rotation players out. He's got to carry a little more of a heavy load. Can he do that? And he can do that not only effectively but efficiently. So those would be probably three names I would pick and look at and zero in on.
Yeah, it's Trent's an interesting one because his name had come up so much, as and what his future is going to be, and I guess it's all tied into other moves and the money available, the roles available, and different position, different status. But Kelly Olynyk's deal was announced yesterday. Jack, he gets a 2-year extension, and when he was acquired from Utah, it was largely believed that was something that was inevitable. It became inevitable yesterday. What do you make of, what kind of impact he's made already since he's been here the last couple of weeks, and what kind of impact he can have on this team moving forward?
Well, I love the move the day they made it, and I love the move now to have him on your team and to give him a 2-year extension. He really knows how to play. And look, you have Coach Starko and the style of play that they like to play. Wholeheartedly, 100%, he fits what they're trying to do. He's an incredible passing big man. You can put the ball in his hands, and he could do things with dribble handoffs and two-man actions and backdoor cuts, and he sees the other 9 guys on the floor. He has a great, he's obviously a coach's son, and he really has a tremendous feel for the game. He hasn't shot the 3 well yet here, but he can and will shoot the 3 much better. So he is a guy that in a league like now, I mean, you look at the dominance of what the Celtics are doing. There are many times you got to, at the very least, play 4 out, 1 in. And a lot of nights you got to play 5 out. And you look at a guy like Porzingis, who's obviously 7'3", but man, he can shoot the 3. And they play 5 out a lot. You look what they did to Golden State on Sunday; they dismantled them. I think you look at a guy like Kelly, you put him in the game as a smaller 5, and the way the game's being played now, and you got a guy like Barnes and RJ and Quickly and guys like that, it creates a lot of space and really cool offensive options that you can run. And with a guy like Gradey Dick who can stretch the defense, I think he's a sensible, common sense guy to have within your scheme. Is he going to ever be a prime-time, big-time guy for you? No. But is he going to be in your top 9? Absolutely. I think he's a really, really good fit for your team. Again, the numbers in the NBA for what he does, I think it makes sense, and he's a really good fit for them. And there'll be times that when Jakob Poeltl's healthy, they can play a few minutes together and do some things there too. So I really like it.
Raptors Pelicans tonight with Jack Armstrong. You mentioned Gradey Dick, and his resurgence the last month and a half has been really, really significant. He's getting a lot of minutes. He's hitting a lot of shots. But it's not only the shooting. I mean, that goes a long way, and it's been long overdue. We've talked about this countlessly the last few years, Jack, how this team really was lacking shooting. He's supplying it. But what else have you seen out of his game that would suggest, something clicked with the 905, something clicked, earlier in the year for him, and if it continues to click, this guy could actually be someone you pencil in next year as maybe an impact player on this team.
He's a tough young man. That's what I see. I see him. He sticks his nose in there. He'll play. He gets after it. He's tireless in terms of when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, moving without it and getting to open spots and being where the defense isn't and making good reads. You close out on him, he can put it on the floor for a bounce or two and make a play for himself, make a play for others. He's tough. He'll go finish at the rim. He will go in there and rebound. He will take charges. He is a tough cookie. So to me, I like him. I think he's he's getting more confident and sturdy because now he's understanding the quickness, the athleticism, the physicality of the NBA game. He's going to be a good player. To your point, Brian, he's definitely going to be a rotation player in his NBA career. I like him a lot, and he's a great young man, and he's got the work ethic. He'll do the sweat equity. He'll put the time in and pay the price. And sometimes you need to be kicked in the head a little bit and humbled. You think about it. I don't know, 2 years ago today, probably he's playing in a high school game.
Mm-hmm.
And, last year you're playing in Kansas, and he had a great, great year. But, sometimes we lose sight of that. And the hype machine, which is social media and the NBA, and people lose their minds. And, hey, look, I remember Tracy McGrady here when I first got to the Raptors, and I'm like, he came right out of high school. Grady came out 1 year after college. I mean, it takes time, and it's a humbling business. And people hunting you down and looking to expose you, looking to punish you, looking to embarrass you. And I think you need a little humble pie sometimes. But I think the coaching staff and the front office have really, and the training staff have really kind of been very candid and direct with him in terms of, hey, this is what you're going to need to be a good pro. And to his credit, man, he is bought in hook, line, and sinker, and he is all into it. And I fully expect him to be incredibly committed this offseason, and you'll see him come back stronger, bigger, better, sharper, and more cognizant of what it takes to be an even better player in his second year. As you know, a lot of it comes down to roster construction around him. The better, the roster, I mean, to ask him to be a top 3 guy on your roster, I'm not sure. But I do see him as a guy that'll play prime minutes, sometimes as a starter, sometimes as one of your top 8, 9. But if you have some good pieces around him, I think he'll be a heck of a player for you.
It's going to be a fun one tonight. Enjoy it, Jack. We'll do it again soon. Thank you for this.
Guys, thanks so much. Hit them straight, not too often. Kick butt at the 19th hole.
That's the way we live, man. That's our lifestyle. Thank you, Jack. There's Jack Armstrong. That's a good way to go out. I like that.
Yeah. Good words.
Like that,
good words of advice.
Yeah, listen, it's March. It's early March, but the weather the last couple of days has been unreal. There are courses around. I was speaking with Koliakovo today. Carlo and AK and Duffy
Where did he
were
play
playing.
yesterday?
Somewhere in Hamilton.
Yeah, it was
somewhere out in
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Do you feel like you missed out not golfing yesterday?
No.
You okay with not golfing?
I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
Again, I have a serious itch. Like I said, like I've got like shoes and clothes coming in. Golf TaylorMade has sent us. They've got the new TP5s are out. They look unreal. The QI10. Like I'm dying to play golf.
Me too. It's pathetic to even say that you're dying to do that, but it's like I just hope the courses like say early spring. Punxsutawney Phil, let's get at it and open up.
Right.
The problem is getting people to work at the golf courses because I think they rely on students. There's just nobody to work.
That's a big issue. It largely is kind of student driven.
But hey,
hospitality.
Let's find out where there's a will, there's a way.
Where there's a will, there's a way. That's right. Where there's a will, there's a way, and that's it. So, you can like personalize TaylorMade golf balls right now. They got a great thing cooking there. I went easy. I just have haze on mine, which I thought afterwards, I'm like, that's stupid because I'm going to spray those everywhere.
And people are going to find them in weird spots.
I know, man.
In your track, it's easy to lose balls.
Yes.
Like you miss the fairway by 5 feet, gone.
Yeah. And there's so much fescue, and some guy's going to look like, oh, got it. What are you playing? Oh, this is haze. It's not your ball. They will be scattered everywhere.
Dude, you got to keep it simple. Just do, your number was 6, wasn't it, in hockey?
Yep.
Just do a black TaylorMade logo with a red 6. It's gorgeous. That's all I do. Red 92, amazing.
All right, man. I actually did that. I have the number 6. It's just a matter of what else is on it, being personalized.
Yeah.
So we mentioned Anthony Mantha traded earlier this hour to Vegas, from Washington to Vegas. And I guess the trade call is ongoing, and it's going to take a while for details to come out. Looks like it could be a 2nd and a 4th round pick. So, that's a decent price. Vegas is in it to win it. I don't know. Mark Stone, him being out, that's concerning. Like if he misses the playoffs, I don't know if you can fill those skates.
That's why I thought it was automatic Jake Gensel going to Vegas. Mm-hmm. Like, doesn't that kind of fit what Kelly McCrimmon is all about? I got cap room, going to get the biggest fish.
Right. And then if Stone returns for like the 2nd round or something, it's like, great, look how good these guys are. Anyway, Raps Pelicans tonight. We'll get into that. We'll tee it up one more time. Leafs back in action tomorrow night with Buffalo in town. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2. All right, we got Edmonton and Boston tonight. That's a big game.
That'd be a fascinating game to watch.
Yeah, that's a big one, man. And the Oilers are sitting there waiting for him. Right? Boston was in town last night.
You know what that is? That's a little bit of a curiosity bowl, right? Like 2 different conferences. You don't see each other a lot. 2 really good teams. Curious to see what they're all about. Like, what do they got cooking over there?
I kind of like Edmonton tonight. But this is where Boston impresses you because off a back-to-back, coming off a big win.
Squeeze it out.
Exactly.
Man.
They'll go home, and Ullmark will play, and he'll stand on his head, and Pasta will be unreal, and they'll find a way to shut down McDavid, and they'll win 3-2. And that's kind of who they are and what they've done. You're always waiting for them to lose and kind of fall off, and the Bruins just don't do that. But Edmonton's like clicking again. Like they've had some real ups and downs, but I'd say the last few games they have really started to look like a team that is chugging.
Funny with the Bruins.
That's one of the craziest turnarounds I've seen since I started working at TSN. Like they were dead in the water.
They were a mess early in the year.
Like the St. Louis. Like, hey, like doesn't it remind you of that? When they were dead last and they won the Stanley Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right behind that one.
Yeah.
If that's the King Daddy topper, then Edmonton is right behind them.
Yeah.
Well, and then you got the Vancouver Canucks in L.A. tonight playing the Kings. Which
they're playing better.
Too.
LA's actually found something here. Like they're actually playing better hockey.
Yeah.
Preds play tonight. The Preds are playing great. They can't lose.
Yeah. A lot of hockey, man.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot going on, Frankie.
The Bruins. 11 games in a row with 3+ goals allowed. 6 games in a row, OT or shootout. No problem.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. They'll figure it out. Like they're legit, man. Panthers are playing tonight, I think, again too, aren't they? Yeah, they are. And they were at the Garden last night. So you got a lot of games in the NHL, and the Raptors are playing tonight at home against New Orleans. So it's going to be a fun one. Struddy's on the show tomorrow. We're looking forward to that. Jason Strudwick for 3 hours.
Struddy versus Hayes.
I think we might do some Edmonton versus Toronto, Struddy versus Hayes. Oh, you can mediate that?
I'll host.
You're going to be the host? All right, little trivia tomorrow.
I wonder if Zach Hyman comes up.
I guarantee you he will. He'll troll. Like Struddy will be trolling, but we'll just give it right back to him. Edmonton better be prepared because they're going to get hit and hit hard tomorrow.
OverDrive West.
Exactly. Yeah. All right, Frankie, good seeing you.
Yeah, thank
always,
you.
Frankie Corrado. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. Radio, TV, podcast, web. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
Zion, you rascal. Behave yourself tonight. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.